Just wait 2 more minutes and then we can start. I think we're good to go since no judge is going to join, and otherwise they can watch the recording, like I said. Well, hello everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm Marie, and I'm here joined with Maruna and Mr. Laurent in the background as well. We have our semifinals right now, and right now it's going between Team 1964 versus between Beyond Ifs and Buts. The topic of today is going to be company CEOs should not be permitted to use personal social media account for business purposes. Our judges today will be Miss Park, Miss Gayibova, and Miss Ashaman. And as I said, they can join later or watch the recording. I'm going to share my screen, and then we can draw who's going to be pro and who's going to be con against the statement. Can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So Beyond Ifs and Buts is going to be in favor of the statement, while 1964 is going to be against the statement. I'll write that in the chat to remind everyone. Miruna, can you set a timer for 5 minutes so all the participants can prepare appropriately? Yes. Okay. Yes, as you can probably see by Verona's paper, the time is up. I hope everyone had enough time to prepare. I'm just going to repeat the structure of this debate first, so everyone is clear on that. So the first opening statements are going to be 4 minutes each, and then afterwards we'll have arguments of 2 minutes each, 3 times, meaning that each team will have 10 minutes to speak. If it's possible, please turn off your camera if you're not speaking so we can maintain a good internet connection on Teams. And now I would like to invite Team Grow, which is Beyond Ifs and Buts, to make their opening statements. Go ahead when you're ready.
Good evening. On behalf of Team Beyond Ifs and Buts, I'll be arguing for the statement that company CEOs should not be permitted to use their personal social media accounts for business purposes. We are going to substantiate our position by expanding on the following points. Firstly, if used for business purposes, a CEO's personal account is an extension of the company. Secondly, there's a large risk that is involved and it impacts stakeholders tremendously. Thirdly, a CEO is more often than not the most competent person to run an account for business purposes. According to Jeffrey Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, if you make customers unhappy in the physical world, they might each tell 6 friends. If you make customers unhappy on the internet, they can each tell 6,000. Firstly, if used for business purposes, a CEO's personal account is an extension of the company. This blurs the line between personal content and company content, to the point where the public will ask themselves, where does the company end and the CEO begin? A CEO's private social media is not just the individual acting as a CEO, but also a normal person. Therefore, one must be mindful in not invading the CEO's privacy while monitoring and reviewing company-related posts. An example of this is when the National Labor Relations Board ordered Tesla to make Elon Musk delete a tweet that was seen as threatening to the labor organizers within the company. A CEO has a duty to exercise reasonable care, skill, and diligence. This can be seen under Section 174 of the UK Companies Act 2006 and Section 93 of the German Stock Corporations Act. This can become very difficult when faced with carrying the responsibility for their own social media and for the business purposes publicly. Secondly, there's a risk involved, and it has a tremendous effect on stakeholders. It is important to note that along with the CEO, there are various other stakeholders affected, namely employees, internal and external shareholders, and directors, and so on and so forth. Whether or not intended, the CEO becomes a potential liability. Research says that the pursuit of celebrity levels of coverage may come at the expense of shareholder interests and may even be considered consumption. According to this research, personal social media leaves too much to the CEO's discretion, along with posts that might relate to the company's official stances and that may fundamentally derogate from the interests of the shareholders. By having the position of CEO, it comes with a duty to work in the best interest of the company. This is found in Section 175 of the UK Companies Act and Section 47 of the German law on limited liability companies. This is often not adhered to on social media as the personal account is uncensored. An example of this would be when Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, tweeted that Tesla stock prices are too high in his opinion. The stock value dropped 10% that very same day. Many Twitter users were publicly upset at the dip in the worth of their stock portfolio. Thirdly, a CEO is not the most competent person to represent the company on social media. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a CEO itself, and so much other things that the CEO needs to take care of. Social media takes a lot of time and effort if reputation is a priority of the company. And let's face it, a company is nothing without its reputation in the public eye. A CEO's use of personal social media for business purposes does not allow a much more skilled and experienced CMO employee or team to contribute meaningfully without jeopardizing the CEO's privacy. Therefore, a marketing or PR team cannot effectively protect the company from media backlash or create a successful media campaign. A whole marketing team's expertise, resources, and manpower is far more powerful than one person, even if it is the CEO, when representing the company on social media. To conclude, Warren Buffett, the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, said, "We can afford to lose money, even a lot of money, but we cannot afford to lose reputation, even a shred of reputation." Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, from the pro team. I would like to invite the con team to make their opening arguments as well.
Thank you. Good evening, jurors, timekeeper, and the opposing team. My name is Jasmina Hogendijk, and together with my colleague Astrid Uwewijs, we believe that company CEOs should be allowed to use their personal social media accounts for business purposes. We view the statement that we're discussing this evening as controlling and should not be a topic of discussion, since it would be taking control of someone's personal life and the decisions that they make in that part of their life. First of all, we want to clarify that CEOs are not obligated to use personal social media for either personal goals or business purposes. At the end of the day, it should be their choice to make whether they will engage in that part. Furthermore, one of the most important things about being a CEO is trustful and reliable. Social media is a great way to show personality and for people to link a face to a company. The days of hiding away from all kinds of social media are slowly fading away, and it has become a place to grow clientele efficiently. A CEO could use their personal social media to come into contact with loyal customers or people they talk to frequently in relation to business. Moreover, they can promote new products or new ideas. Social media is a part of almost everyone's daily life nowadays, which is why it is such a great way to broadcast information or excitement about a new project or product. Even maybe if you need to hire new people. For a company, using business accounts as well as personal accounts broadens the range of people that can be reached and might be interested in a job. It is an effective way of broadening a demographic, and not only that, but a CEO's post can come with a certain level of trust as well as a level of authority. It humanizes a brand. Who thinks about Tesla without thinking about Elon Musk as well? Furthermore, one could argue that using personal social media in this case comes with some risks. For example, cybersecurity, but so does email, and CEOs use that frequently to communicate with employees, business partners, etc., etc. Posting about a company comes with risks, but so does everything else that you do online. If a CEO is informed about risks and informed about how they could make use of their personal accounts for business purposes in a safe and regulated manner, the risk of cyber attacks onto a social media account, whether it may be personal or business, will not be greater than an attack via email. At the end of the day, it should be a choice rather than being a prohibition on doing something. It could be people could advise against using personal accounts for these purposes. However, at the end of the day, it should be the CEO's choice whether they do this. It is someone's personal account, and they themselves should be making decisions on what happens. They can make an informed decision when they're warned by the marketing team, for example, but choices are choices and they should not be taken away. If they choose to use their personal accounts for business purposes, that is in their right, and whether that's informed or not, they know the consequences and they'll have to deal with that. This is why we believe that CEOs should be permitted to use their personal social media accounts for the business purposes if they want to. Thank you.
Thank you, yes, Jasmine from 1964. We are now moving on to the rebuttal phase of the debate, and I would like to invite the pro team to make their first argument.
Thank you. The first claim made by the opposition is this would be controlling a person in some way, but we'd like to clarify the object of this debate is using the social media for business purposes, meaning this is literally the business's everything that the business does, which means the CEO does not have the freedom to just operate in the name of the business without the business's consent. Another thing that the opposition mentioned is it helps us grow clientele and even helps us with trust and gives a trustworthy face of the company. However, as we know, this isn't the case. The CEO is not the person that is competent enough to be that face for the company. Although having a face can help a company gain trust and grow clientele, the CEO is just not competent enough to do that. According to Masha Maximava, the key to online reputation management is handling negative feedback quickly to prevent it from turning into a crisis. A CEO just does not have that time or skill. A CEO is not skilled in marketing or PR. It's better to have a marketing team that is more skilled and can contribute meaningfully to marketing as well as attacking negative comments and being able to take that down, and negative criticism and feedback, and being able to take that before it affects the company. The opposition also mentioned Elon Musk, which I find to be very surprising since Elon Musk's use of social media cost Tesla a lot of problems. One tweet from Elon Musk caused an SEC violation that caused them to possibly settle for $14, and were even required to make Elon Musk step down from his point. I'd like to also point out that there is a fiduciary duty, so their right to represent the company on social media isn't unrestricted and shouldn't be. There's fiduciary duties in every legal system that is sophisticated. Thank you.
Hello, before I start, am I seen and heard? Yes? Hi.
I think Marie has a connection issue because on my screen has frozen. Therefore, I would like to give the floor for the rebuttal, first speaker of your team.
Hi. Yes. Am I seen, heard? Perfect. Yes. Great. All right. Good evening. My name is Astrid Overweiss, and I will be the second speaker for the CON team. And we believe that CEOs should be permitted to use personal social media accounts for business purposes. I will now proceed to rebut some of the arguments presented by the proposition. I would like to start with the argument presented just now by the first rebuttal of the pro team, saying that it would be better to have a marketing team because the CEO is not qualified and does not have the time. However, as stated by the same motion, we do not say that we're not limiting saying no marketing team. We're simply saying that it should be a choice, which has not been refuted so far, that it should be a choice. It was stated that this would be controlling. It's not controlling, considering that this would be for business purposes. However, who writes the line and where is it for what is business purposes and what is personal purposes? Because as I said before, we are talking about allowing a CEO to have social media for both purposes. This is not limited. This is not limiting the ability of the company to have their own social media to present actual official information. Considering the fact that further Elon Musk has been a very heated topic so far in this debate, I would like to address that. Yes, Elon Musk had a tweet that had her removed as a CEO. However, that is a problem within their company and within them. It's at the discretion of the CEO, and should be at the discretion, because he was using his own personal social media. And who are we to limit a citizen's ability to use his own social media for the information that he knows? He is not allowed to disclose some information, and that information that he could disclose with this social media for business purposes would be the same information that he could disclose outside of social media through email further, as stated before by my colleague. The same security, the same principles are still not applicable. And further, if we can consider the positive impact that some CEOs on social media have had, I think this could be a much more interesting debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Astrid. I would like to give the floor now for the second argument made by the pro team.
Good evening. Can you see and hear me? Yeah, thank you very much. So the argument that was made by the opposing team about the marketing team, that nobody's denying the CEO's access to the marketing team and in their actual conduct on social media. Well, there's no denying of the efficiency of the marketing team, but one has to bear in mind that the CEO is simply not physically capable of even merely responding to multiple comments at the same time. We would like to once again re-emphasize the fact that social media is a very risky environment to conduct and to advance the agenda of the company, because a single person, a single individual as a CEO cannot physically take care of all the possible scandals that may arise at the same time in social media. Social media in its nature is a very volatile environment, and a single individual cannot physically control that. It is, however, can be attended to by the marketing team that makes a very informed choice. In addition to that, not only does the social media undermine the efficiency of advancing the agenda of the company, social media also puts at risk the fact that once the CEO has this discretion of advancing the agenda of the company, it can actually preempt the company's action and the company's opportunity to dictate its own agenda. Once this instantaneous decision is made and the CEO uploads this little soft news or this little piece of information that can derail the already previously agreed upon course of action of the company, this simply means that there's no uniform decision-making in the company, which simply does not portray in good light. Soft news have multiple times been proven to be the root of multiple scandals. Also, there was an argument made by the opposing team that it is undermined the very right of using the social media of the citizen. Well, no one is denying the right of using social media of the citizen. It is simply saying that once the company-related content is uploaded, the law can intervene to have that removed, and that undermines the very stability of the company, as we have seen with the tweet of Elon Musk being removed by the NLRA. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Yaroslav. I would like to invite the second member of the con team to deliver their second argument.
Hello, good evening. Once again, I am here to defend the argument that a CEO should be allowed to use personal social media account for business purposes. Some very good points have been made by the pro team, and I will now begin to address them. Starting with that the CEO has this discretion, it would undermine the company's power. Further, that a CEO cannot react to multiple comments at the same time, and that social media is volatile and the CEO cannot address all of this. I believe there's a very noticeable trend in this debate so far, and mainly from the proposition team, that they just are assuming we're all operating on the belief that the CEO is an incapable person, that they cannot have any rational judgment. Yes, there is some information that could be very easily spread through social media. However, this same information could be very well spread through any other type of media, any other type of communication. Why are we assuming that the CEO would be going against the interests of his own company? The CEO would be the chief executive officer, a very high official in a company. Why is the proposition consistently stating that the CEO cannot know the best interests of their company or will act against them? It is true that a mistake can be made. However, this is not the level that we should be talking in. The CEO was mentioned before by the first speaker that it's a potential liability and that PR cannot protect the company from the CEO. Why are we assuming that the CEO will use his social media, his personal social media, to go against the interests of the company? Why would he harm the interests of the company? Further, as the head of the company, he would be the first one to attempt to protect their interests. There's just not much sense in assuming that the CEO would go against the interests of a company that they're defending. As said before, a CEO has a duty to their company, has the reasonable care, and this is difficult if the CEO has both personal and company social media. Who is saying that he needs to manage both? He just needs to manage his own. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Astrid. Now moving on to the last argument made by the Pron team.
Thank you. So the one point made by the opposition's rebuttal is that our team said that the CEO is not capable. However, this is just factually not true. We said that a marketing team or a PR team is much more skilled in that area and would be able to respond faster just because of the pure amount of manpower. A marketing team has more than one person that would be able to monitor and go manage negative feedback and negative criticism faster than a CEO alone would. That's the fact. Also, a CEO has fiduciary duties, meaning they aren't going to be going against the company. However, a CEO isn't. We're not claiming that the CEO is going to go against the company intentionally. We are saying that social media is a platform that does not allow them to have the reasonable skill, care, and diligence that is required by fiduciary duties. Social media is, by its nature, faster and does not allow them to prepare what they write faster than it would be normally. So basically, the CEO by himself would not be able to manage the threat as a marketing team would. And this has been emphasized by Forbes and has been emphasized by Masha Maximava and several other competent writers. This is merely stating a fact. And there's also no direct link between a company's size and the status of the CEO in the media, meaning that the CEO's mistake on the media is going to affect the company, whether the CEO is famous or whether the CEO is not. So it's better to leave the social media in the hands of the official page of the official account that is run by a more competent and bigger amount of people that can actually run an account to the degree that is needed to manage negative feedback and to actually promote the product and to promote the company. Yes, the CEO can give trust. However, the CEO should not do this through his own personal social media, as this is just not the right platform to do this. A company's official page is, and the assistance of a marketing team and a PR team is needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahman. Now giving the floor for the last argument by the Con team. Astrid, I think you have the floor.
Thank you. Yes, good evening. My name is Astrid. We'll be presenting the last argument. Well, I think we keep returning back to the same topic as the proposition has once again repeated their same argument that the CEO is capable, actually a kind of contradicting themselves with what they said before. Now they stated that the CEO is capable, however, that a marketing team could be faster and more efficient. That has been stated several times. However, as we have stated throughout the entire debate, this is not this position allowing CEOs to have social media account for business purposes does not limit the company's possibility to have their own social media account. And I think if we can look for other examples, for example, Duolingo, their social media is amazing and they have a really good following in there, and that has improved their company a lot. Do we know if their CEO has social media, or does anyone care? Because it was also further stated by the proposition recently that if a company has a social media and then a CEO has social media, that the CEO, even if they're not famous, that's going to affect in a certain way. And I don't think that's the case. I think we have the very vivid example of Elon Musk, particularly because of the fact that he's so famous. And in that sense, Elon Musk has had many companies and he's involved in many business dealings. But besides his professional life, he is still allowed to have his own social media. He is still allowed to have an opinion on things. Why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't everyone? If a person who's not within a company can have an opinion on the economy, why can't a CEO have an opinion on the economy? However, if, as stated before, we're talking about their personal social media account, so the person that puts the tweet out will be a human being and not a company. So it's definitely not an official representation of the company and can't be assumed to be as much. It needs to be understood by the people who are reading it that it's definitely not the company. Further, that social media is so fast that it does not actually allow a CEO to see or think about what they're doing. It's genuinely up to the person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Astrid, and thank you everyone for participating today. You can open your cameras. Can you hear me? Or I'm frozen?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I believe that there is also the conclusion left for both of the teams.
Just Marie, maybe you are back. Maybe I'm wrong and I took my notes wrong.
So we have 3 arguments each, right?
Yes, and they're
Yeah.
all been provided by each of the team.
No, that's correct. So we have 3 arguments per team, and then the third argument is also included in the conclusion. I see visible confusion there.
Is a little confusion. I don't know if you attended the workshop, which has been, I think, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. The timeline is a bit changed from the first matches that we have before. Instead of 1 minute of argument, you had 2 this time, and the format remained the same as last year, where the third argument is also the conclusion. That's why we followed of this today.
Is everyone clear on that?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I actually went to the workshop, but I've been very confused with the change of dates and the change of structure. So I missed it, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It is one of the few points that we agree with the opposing team on. We actually were not aware of that as well. We were thinking that there were 3 rebuttals for each team, and then there were conclusions.
Okay, since this is a misunderstanding and a confusion, I would like to kindly ask you to let us to discuss internally and also with the members from our university and the coordinators to see if we can change something, or is it remain the same, or if it will affect you in any kind of way. And you should receive from us an email as soon as possible with further explanation of this. As organizers, we are aware of the timeline and we discussed it before, so respected. We will also talk with the other timekeeper and host of the previous match to see if it was different for them. But if for them the structure as we respected today was the same, then it will be the same for you too. Marie, maybe you want to add something?
Yeah, no, we'll definitely discuss internally also with Mr. Laurent here, who's also present here, and then we can see what we can do about it. However, personally, I feel like you all did a great debate, and
it was a great debate. It was a very good debate.
I didn't think that something was missing, you know, but I can understand as debaters yourself that you feel like something was missing. Yeah, Yaroslav?
Yeah, we're not interrupting the timeline of the debate. We're just we have the email right before us here for the semi-finals information. Is it right? That was sent on December 8th, and it actually says that each team has 2 minutes for the conclusion and 6 minutes for the rebuttal, which means 2 minutes for each round of the rebuttal. And I think that we still have 2 minutes for the conclusion according to the rules that were sent to us.
Okay, I will look into that then. Thank you for pointing it out. Astrid, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say also I thought that we had 2 more minutes of conclusion. It's very good to know that nothing was missing from the debate, but I would like if it can be taken into consideration that we didn't know that we wouldn't have that. I also read the same email as Yaroslav, and I want that to be taken into consideration because our team, we have 2 people, and Yasmin was going to do the conclusion, so she was left without a speech, and I don't think it's fair if she gets points taken off because she only did 1 speech. We expected to have another one. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for letting me know. Any other concerns that you want to voice before we conclude this debate? Let this be known, because this is recorded also for all the judges to know, and then we'll communicate it further to the judges as well.
Just to make sure that our understanding of it is clear. So right now we do not get the chance to make our conclusions, and the debate is deemed to be complete.
Wait, can you just give me a second, because I'm communicating with a judge from the previous match, and I can Okay, as per the judge from the previous debate, the other teams had 3 arguments and the conclusions. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to give you 2 more minutes to make your conclusions, and we can all be fair and square with the other teams as well. Does that sound all right? Yeah? Okay. Then the pro team can make their conclusion.
Thank you. Can you hear and see me? Great. Honorable judges and their counterparts, the opposing team has presented arguments that certainly merit thorough consideration. Nevertheless, to arrive at the right conclusion, the following has to be borne in mind. There's no avoiding of the fact that when used for business purposes, which is actually the core of our debate, personal social media accounts become an extension of a company. This leads to obscuring the otherwise clear distinction between the personal content and that of the company. Along with that comes the unfavorable compounding of the CEO's appointed position and their status and their actual personality. The uploading of company-related material alone gives rise to CEO's invasion of privacy issues, which, as seen with the chief executive of Tesla, may lead to certain problems, even embroils the company and the whole members of the corporate structure into a destabilizing matter. Added to that comes the likely violation of the fiduciary duty or even a breach of the code of conduct, which may all arise from so much as the CEO's little indiscretion in social media. It all serves as a clear indication of the CEO's lack of competence for advancing the company's agenda on the web, a task that has to be attended to by the marketing team. The mishandling of such intricate matters, company's representation on social media by the CEO, a single individual, diminishes the high regard vested in their position. It undermines the very intercollegial spirit of trust, which is the most important part of the efficient operation of business. Allowing the chief executive to use their social media account for business purposes renders the company subject to the CEO's discretion, a dynamic simply impermissible in the corporate world. Thank you very much for your attention and for the organization of the debate.
Thank you so much, Yaroslav. I would like to give the floor to the other team to give their conclusion statement as well.
Yes, am I seen and heard?
Definitely, go for it.
Thank you. As the opposite proposition has said that a CEO might be incapable or not be able to function in the place of doing this on their social media. We don't know that. It may depend per CEO. Most of them have education. We don't know what their education was in. If they have by coincidence in education and marketing, they could be able to do this. It all depends on what they can and cannot do and what they're trained in. As well as we want to reiterate that this has been for us about having a choice to do this, not whether, and that there shouldn't be a prohibition on this. If a CEO can prove that they are capable of doing this, are capable of using their personal social media for business purposes, they should be allowed to do so. They can do this advised, they can do this trained, but it's about a choice, having the possibility instead of just throwing that possibility out of the window. Furthermore, again, why would if the CEO would go against the best interest of the company, that would not only scar the reputation of the company itself, but also their own reputation. And no CEO, especially the CEOs that we all know, will risk that because of their own status in the world and in the commercial world. That's why we want to reiterate once again that CEOs should be permitted to use their personal social media account for business purposes if they are doing this informed and know the risks and consequences of doing so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your arguments and the whole debate. I'm sorry again for the confusion that was caused after the arguments, but that's been rectified. I hope you're all satisfied with how the debate turned out. We will take this into consideration, of course, and I hope the judges will as well. For the judges, if they're watching this recording, this is a note for them to just take this into consideration, that there was confusion with the organizers, not with the debaters, and that you should grade accordingly to their competences, basically. We'll try to grade as soon as possible, of course, but that depends on the judges. I hope you all had a great time. Thank you all for being here again, and hopefully in the finals.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very much.
apologies for the misconfusion. Congrats, it was a very nice debate.
Thank you. And thank you to the opposing team for the good debate.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening.
Good evening, everyone.